Before we take a look at the all-new NX and the UX Electric, what is their bigger brother doing? The Lexus RX, one of their established SUVs. And also recently we had the ES, the Sedan. So SUV or Sedan, what's the better choice? We'll take this one here as an example and also rate it against the German competitors. Thomas and Autogefühl, let's go. Strong dramatic styling here in the front, and this one is the F Sport model with a sportier front grille. Nice daytime running light signature here as well, and you can also get an updated LED, so-called premium LED for the front headlamps. The length at 4.89 meters or 193 inches. You can also get an 11 centimeter or 4 inches plus version, the RXL. It has the same wheelbase. It's really just that the rear overhang is a little bit longer than for the possibility of the 7 seats. Wheels 18 or most mainly come with 20-inch here. Very nice sporty styling. Once again, this is the F Sport line with some sporty accentuations. Here also the contrasting mirror caps, and it has this SUV coupe shape a little bit here, and then with this design flying roof trick where this area is black and then it really looks like the top part would be just flying. Here the F Sport version also comes with the adaptive suspension. That's also different to the normal one, which just comes with the normal base suspension. Nice tail lamp signature here as well, and a very clean design overall. No fake exhaust tips whatsoever. That's a good decision definitely. And here the rear diffuser on. Oh, I think I forgot the music running on the interior, and you can feel the bass right here, so that seems to be a strong bass from that sound system. Rear turning indicators here, cascading style, pretty nice. And in the front, above the daytime running light, and also in a slightly cascading style. This is the car key, a little bit old school. The one of the ES was more modern. Here, door closing sound, very solid. The inside of the door is actually not entirely hard, but also not that plush. But here, it's very soft right there. And then as we move to that interior, look at that, steering wheel F Sport with contrast stitches. Interesting is that here the buttons on the left side for volume and on the right side to control the digital instruments. So this is a little bit irritating. In the ES it's already the other way around, because it makes more sense that you control the instruments with left buttons right there. As for the seats, they are here with animal skin. This is an European market thing, especially in Germany or UK. You can only get the animal-free seats in the base models. Whereas in the US you can get the animal-friendly leather red, so-called Nulux in the US, or called Ecolux or Tahara in Europe. You can get these seats then in basically all trims, even here in the F Sport models, and also in different colors. They're really cool. We had them in the ES recently, and they're really superior, also material-wise, how they feel. Here, interesting entry functions. So when I turn on the ignition, steering comes down, seat goes forward, and it's actually, a king of the road seating position. But I really have to say, the seats in the ES, also from the form, yes, beeping all over the place again, the seat from the form were also better in the ES. So actually, I had a more comfortable seat in the ES Sedan. Interior overview, rather a little bit old school here. The ES is also a little bit better, but thing is, old school has analog clock and manual dials, for example here for the volume. News here, if you compare to older RX, is here 12.3-inch touchscreen. Zoom more details to that. You can also control it here from the lower area with this touch field, which is a little bit weird. But the good thing is really you can now use the touch functions here. Yay! And also here manual climate unit. The instruments are pretty simple, but then they're also, not too complicated. That's the advantage. Here the driving modes, that's the most fancy thing. You can see how they change then. Cruise control here, still in a separate stock column. And the head-up display is quite large and clear to read. Well, and since the map here is still a little bit like old school, outdated. Yeah, and the rest of the menu also, usually you use the lower thing then to get something else to the base menu. Here also climate unit. This is really like, very outdated, although we have this touchscreen now. So most of the time you will rely then on the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto connection. Great Mark & Levinson sound system, by the way, here good 3D sound. And this is then of course what you would usually see and use. You have this 360-degree camera, can go all the way around, or then classic rear view camera, of course. Not the best image quality, but I feel a little better in the ES, which is kind of strange. But overall, they need to pop up their camera solutions at Lexus. In the front there's an inductive charging pad, and here manual buttons for seat heating, seat cooling. Then here charging your devices. In the front, it's just charging, by the way. This is just to put your smartphone, no additional inductive charger. Then here we have the cup holders, and they're quite funny because here you can pump it up, y'all. Yeah, here's the Lexus branded hand sanitizer, and then you can like push it in again. This is interesting here and more old school. Like in the ES, you have like this stairs design for that, which is not that beep beep beep, not that practical. So better when it's just like front and back, and that's it. And here is once again this famous touchpad, which again is gladly not the only solution anymore. Then here is your drive selector, press it for normal mode, or here Sport Plus mode. We're going to use it later. And here I have my smartphone easy plug in and out solution to have it here in this place, and I usually stay in the normal driving mode because here the real connector for Apple CarPlay and Auto is underneath, and then you can have just the cable out there, and it doesn't squish it too much, so that's actually okay. And this is also a floor here, so this is like just it just has a soft surface, and this here also has, see here, a soft underground. And so when I'm having my elbow, I'm usually like in between here or maybe slightly here, so I will need to put my elbow further to the back that it's soft, and here it's actually starting to hurt after a while because it's actually too hard. In the rear there's not so much leg room actually, because here the recess of the seats, it would only work when the seat would be higher actually. You can see it right here, then it would be, plentiful. But it's actually quite comfortable here in the rear, also for kids because they sit quite high, and headroom with 1.86 m or 6'1" is also no problem at all. Interesting that there is kind of no middle tunnel here, and then you have some chargers here in the back as well, and seat heating, and in the middle here you have some cup holders. And here you also have the electric control of the back part of the seats right here, and yeah, with the beeping effect, of course. Trunk area here, the cabin trolley fits in the vertical way, about 1 meter or 40 inches in length, and even more interesting here, the width. This is more than 1 meter or 40 inches, and even more here above the wheel arches, so it's a very wide trunk. This one here a little bit wobbly, but remember there's also the 7-seater version in the RXL, so more space here. And then what's very interesting, you can fold down the seats like this, electric way. It takes ages indeed, really slow, but the good thing is for that you can not only fold it down, but also up again. Yeah, and of course once again beep 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 beep. Yeah, so here we go again. Takes a long time, but it's then a very practical thing to have. One of the things that speaks most for the vehicle is the reliability. Soon in the driving part, also talking more about the different reliability figures and stats and service and so on. What to do with them actually, and how good is it really? However, what speaks against this vehicle is that it's really beeping all over the place, always. I mean, the sounds are just also so loud, even when you close the hatch. Like, wow, it's like, yes, I know it's closing now. So what about this sedan versus SUV question here? Sometimes the SUVs, because they're built higher, have the more upright seating position, they're a little bit more comfortable than. Here in this case, I really have to say, these F-Sport sport seats in the ES with the new Lux material, they were so comfortable, really great, felt so great in them. They're actually better than these seats here, and that's I wouldn't have expected it. I thought these would be more comfortable because they are the SUV seats, but no, it's the other way around. Also interior-wise, the ES a little bit more modern. So interior-wise, indeed, I would go for the ES, for the sedan. The only thing that could move me towards the SUV is that rear hatch, because sedan, classic trunk, and here the SUV, of course, has the hatch where you can also put a bicycle in or something. Yeah, and that flexibility, of course, would rather drive again towards the SUV again, because here the ES doesn't offer an estate version or something. In some markets like Australia, you can also get a 2-liter 4-cylinder. However, the main engine is the 3.5-liter V6, 300 horsepower, either normally naturally aspirated or Here's the hybrid drivetrain. That is also the exclusive engine for the German, European, or especially also the UK market. Then a little bit more horsepower, 313 horsepower, and there's the combustion engine in the front wheel, so it's a front wheel bias, and then electric motor in the front, and a second one for the rear. It's an electric all-wheel drive. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with the Lexus RX, with the most Germanish test here on the German Autobahn. Go to the Sports Plus mode, go to 40 kilometers an hour and accelerate it out. Let's go. $100. $150. And top speed 180. Oh, it goes further. It shouldn't. It shouldn't actually. Why does it go further? Okay. That happened. 213 kilometers an hour in a Lexus? Is this a glitch in the Matrix? So like 130 miles per hour. But also interesting is, I mean, noise insulation wise at these higher speeds, go back to the normal driving mode, it wasn't, that loud. I felt it would be a little bit less noisy than in the ES. Sure. But definitely when you compare like Audi, BMW, Mercedes, they are more silent at higher speeds, no doubt about that. So engine performance and also noise insulation at higher speeds, that's where the Germans are definitely leading. And here with this eCVT, you heard it like this. It's also not that much fun to accelerate and so on. Here in this graphic here in the middle display, 12.3 inch, you can see what is actually active and when we are driving in a more performance-oriented way. Of course, the combustion engine is on. So let's turn to the right. And you can also see both electric motors working, one in the front, one in the rear, and that changes constantly what is actually going on. So it's very confusing to watch it as a driver. But here, for example, when I go off the throttle, directly recuperation into the battery, which is actually quite full at the moment, but still rather serving as a buffer battery. And when I then step on the throttle again, I can see front electric motor is working and the combustion engine, not the rear electric motor at the moment. But did you take a look at it when I hit the full acceleration? Then it's also different, and we also have done the rear electric motor working. Overall, a very comfortable and likable driving feeling with 20-inch wheels mounted here. The F Sport comes with that adaptive suspension, which is also doing a good job. Most of the RX sold nowadays automatically come with 20-inch wheels. Some base versions you can also get the 18-inch ones, which deliver more soft driving comfort. But overall, I'm quite happy with the noise insulation here, and also with the driving comfort, definitely. And it's actually also fairly fun to drive. It's just that it doesn't have that sportiness. That's not what Lexus is really famous for. We had it definitely in the GSF, that one, with its classic rear-wheel driven platform and great rear-wheel drive boost, and also more sporty orientation, of course, than in the sporty version. But recently the ES and here now also the RX, not a sporty focus at all. Here we go. There you can see, rear electric motor is also active when I'm accelerating sometimes. Then I go off throttle, then EV mode is on again, then I go on throttle, EV mode is off again. So that constantly changes indeed, and this can give you some good fuel economy. Not as good as recently in the ES with the 2.5 liter hybrid. This is here the 3.5 liter V6 hybrid, which you can also get without hybrid, especially in the US. And whereas with the smaller one, the 2.5 hybrid in the ES, we had a little bit less than 7 liters on 1 kilometer, so easily 30 mpg US plus, 40 mpg UK plus. Here rather some 18 liters on 1 kilometers and some 30 mpg. As for cruise control, you set it here at the separate stock column here. With the ES, it's already on the steering wheel, which is, a little bit better to handle. Also here, blind spot monitor. With a recent upgrade here of this vehicle, it received a blind spot monitor. It's a very helpful feature. There's warning in the side mirrors then when someone is approaching them from the rear right there, next to this infotainment system update, of course. The cruise control so far doing a good job. You can also activate or deactivate this lane keeping assist, which is also an active one. Let's see here with about 80 kilometers an hour or like 50 miles an hour in the tunnel. Very smooth reactions from that steering wheel, so not being too nervous. That's good. And well, because they have this rather classic approach to the interior user interface, it's also easy to deactivate. Just hit the button and then it's deactivated, it's gone. Really nice. So once again with the Sport Plus mode, when we are already at speed, that the one overtake, that is not irritated by us. So when we are at 85 kilometers an hour, not sure if this one is going to accelerate, but we are going to. Let's go. Power from all motors. Not too powerful overall though. The acceleration figure from 0 to 1 kilometers an hour is like 8 seconds. You're now again at 180 kilometers an hour, and it's really not too loud. So definitely more silent than in the ES recently. That is surprising. I would have expected that the Sedan being lower build and also being the newer vehicle, that it's less noisy than this one here. Yeah, but maybe it's like proven concept or something. They're building this one here for quite a long time. It's the premium SUV. Yes, there's the bigger GX above that, but the RX, as I said earlier, the most established one, and also that's one of the crucial things. Oh, it's a nice Audi S5 convertible. Love that vehicle here. So much fun to drive it. It's fun in summer, especially. Oh. Did one actually throw up a stone against our windshield? I hate you. Well, yeah, that happens, of course. So back to this vehicle here. Very likable. You're driving closed top. That's not really rain. You're not convertible drivers. Okay, now finally back to this vehicle here. So a very relaxed and likable driving feeling, and yes, being not so sporty is not the biggest problem here of the vehicle, because especially when you're here with a hybrid drivetrain, you tend to calm down a little bit more. You're using these EV moments, maybe try to work a little bit with the fuel economy and so on. And since it's not fun to like speed it around, you're also not doing it. So it really tempts you to drive a little bit more relaxed and calm, and that can actually also speak for the vehicle. So what about these comparisons now? BMW X5 or Mercedes GLE, Audi Q8, Audi Q7. So here, the driving fun is less than with the Germans. The Germans just have more driving dynamics from suspension, and the engines are just more performance oriented and so on and so on. So in a way also they feel more sophisticated on the interior. This one looks a little bit dated right now. On the other hand, since we do have more buttons here, especially if you compare newer Mercedes models, this one here is easier to control. BMW goes a quite good way there, and I think also the Audi user interfaces are still quite good to operate while driving. That's totally okay. But if driving fun is the issue, then the Germans it is. But here, once again, that big thing that when you buy one of these vehicles and own it for a longer period of time, like for years and years and years, this one here is once again the most reliable big SUV or mid-size SUV for US tastes. And the thing is really, when you think about these reliability stats, sometimes they are, hard to read, or what is really being asked. Or sometimes I had this, Kia Sportage. In one reliability ranking, it was like top, and in another one in its segment, it was last place. And you think like, how can this happen? It's like, what the hell is going on there? Well, the interesting thing is, all these reliability stats, they're asking different things. Some asking consumers, like, okay, you own this vehicle, what is your experience? Others measure like the official governmentally controlled testing centers, or that, you know, like work for governmental regulations, and they're like, oh, we test the vehicles if they are still good for the road. Like in Germany, it's the TÜV. They take these results from these official mandatory tests. Then other stats, they go for what vehicles do you find on the road, you know, who've been broken while driving and so on. And so we had different results with different biases in this. And then different brands also have different biases. For example, if you take premium cars, usually the owners have also more budget for servicing the vehicles and put it earlier to service in a regular, you know, regular period of time and so on. And cheaper vehicles, you something, okay, it drives, that's fine, and yeah, service, I go to service it when it's broken. You know, and this can also have a bias, and of course brand bias in a way also. Subaru owners or Tesla owners are usually extremely happy with their vehicles, and especially with the, you know, with the Teslas, they do have a lot of failures, yes, but still owners are happy because of their unique features, and this can also affect surveys then, you know. So a lot of things that can affect things, but at the end of the day, when you take a lot of different, you know, of these rankings and look at them, most of the time Lexus and Toyota are at the top. And this is kind of like, you know, an average thing. So after all, if you consider all of these rankings, we can really trust in the fact that Toyota and Lexus are quite reliable. Well, quite is maybe like minimum. And indeed also here the RX has shown that within its segment especially, and also overall, it is a very, very reliable vehicle. And that to me is basically the biggest factor speaking for this one against the Germans. So it would rather be, if you lease a vehicle, go have some fun with the German one. If you own it for 10 years, this one might be a more clever choice. That's, you know, probably the thing here in a nutshell. Well, next step will be the new Lexus SUVs coming up. This one here also in the new generation. When this one is coming up, hit the subscribe button that you don't miss it. Lexus NX coming up, and also the UX Electric. So stay tuned here on our channel for that. For now, tune into the competitors, BMW X5 and the Mercedes GLE.